Hello and welcome to What's Next Wall Street. I am George Alfredas.
And I'm Dave Mathews, and this podcast is all about stocks, the metaverse, crypto, and the new decentralized financial Web3 world all around us, and what that means for traders.
So y'all, every week we're here with new info and tips that can help you become a more informed trader. I've got details on the hot new trending products that everybody's talking about, using, and also investing in. And today, actually, I'm talking mergers. I'm like, what am I talking about? Mergers and acquisitions. That's what
Which is better than murders and executions, which she talked about last week. I'm going to talk about upgrading your software on the iPhone to version 16. Now, this is a major upgrade. And I'm also going to talk about Zuckerberg's being out-of-touch metaverse strategy, where the new headsets cost 5 times more than the original ones, and they're available for pre-order.
Anyway, and who can afford them anyway? We've got Greg Krause, lead instructor at OptionsPlayers.com here with his expert analysis and insight to help you target investment potential. We can also direct you to other instructors over at OptionsPlayers.com who can help you come up with a tailored trade plan. The goal here at What's Next Wall Street is to provide you with education, with information, with tips, so that you're not just out here trading recklessly.
And we want to hear from you. So just bebop us at OptionsPlayers.com on the YouTube channel. Hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street with your questions and comments. And you can watch this episode on the OptionsPlayers.com YouTube channel, or listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, so whether or not you're listening to the podcast or you're watching us on YouTube, just make sure you subscribe and hit the alert button so that you always know what's next on Wall Street. And make sure you rate our podcast. That's important. Okay, Dave, this is important. Have you heard? I know you'll have an opinion. A new bill in the House would ban lawmakers and judges from trading stocks.
Thank God.
House Democrats recently introduced a 26-page bill called the Combating Financial Conflicts of Interest in Government Act. Now, this bill, see how long it is? If you're watching, it would prohibit members of Congress, federal judges, Supreme Court justices, and presidents and other government officials from trading or owning investments in securities, commodities, futures, cryptocurrency, or any other digital asset. Now, those subject to this ban would be required to divest their holdings or place them in a blind trust. It's actually an amendment to the Ethics in Government Act of 1978. And honestly, this used to be a thing with presidents pre-Trump, that is. Presidents didn't have to release their tax info or set up blind trust. They just did, kind of just as an unspoken ethical guard against conflicts of interest. Reagan did it. The Clintons did it. The Bushes did it. Obama did it. By the way, the Bushes used a diversified trust, which is even more restrictive than a blind trust. Nobody trusts government officials anymore. So maybe this bill will help us a little bit.
I didn't see any call-outs to Pelosi's husband. Was that there?
Well, maybe not him, but I'm just saying she's a government official. So if she's married to him, maybe.
No, I didn't. Most of the money's funneling into him.
Where you going, buddy? Where you going, Steve?
Hey, Georgia, have you ever been schmished?
What the hell is smished? I don't even know what that is.
Well, listen up. The IRS said it's tracking even more tech scammers than usual. So far this year, the IRS has identified and reported thousands of fraudulent domains tied to text message, and it's called smishing. Smishing. It's the latest scam where texts want you to click a link where phishing websites collect your info or might send malicious code into your phone. Okay. Now, these messages are all red flags. The IRS says do not click them, obviously. Now, the IRS isn't going to call you or text you, people. Yeah. They write us letters. Trust me on this. I've gotten them. Speaking of smishing, there's a lot of phishing happening on Facebook. Meta, the parent company for Facebook, has found over 400 malware apps this year meant to steal login info. The apps were listed on both the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. They're designed and disguised to look like fun or useful apps, like a flashlight.
Yeah, right.
Where's my whatever? Users were then prompted to log into their Facebook account, which would sit as a man in the middle and steal their login information. Now, Meta said users who think they may have accidentally downloaded a malware app should reset their passwords and turn on login alerts. I think everyone should do that if you download anything other than the legit Facebook app that asks for your password. Hey, Georgia. In other Meta news, out-of-touch CEO Zuckerberg announced this week at their Connect conference a new $1,500 Pro virtual reality headset with a smaller, more balanced footprint and higher resolution screens. Okay. Now, the Horizons VR World text won't look like stair steps, like a bad resolution screen. Right. Now, creepily, their new device has cameras to look at your own facial expressions to make your online avatar more lifelike.
I like that.
When you smile or raise your eyebrows like I am right now. Oh, your digital mini-me will finally have legs. And in an effort to make Mark's folly more mainstream, you can use your persona in Instagram, WhatsApp app, and Facebook profiles.
Okay,
Actually,
that's cool.
It's now prompting you for a little mini you build your avatar. So
Okay,
they're trying
cool.
to push the metaverse onto us.
Yeah.
Now the company says developers have actually made millions of dollars selling apps for their previous $400 headsets, and they announced business partnerships with Accenture, Autodesk, Microsoft, and even our favorite during the pandemic, Zoom.
Yes.
Of these current titles, 33 of them have grossed more than $10 million, and 55 titles have exceeded $5 million in revenue, which blew my mind. People are making money in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Hey, on a side note, and a story by the New York Times stated that only slightly over 50% of the employees at Meta understand or even embrace Mark's vision, hence the folly, and his change of focus to the social media platform to the metaverse.
Wow.
Management there says that employees aren't using the Horizon VR platform enough, and Mark even said some people probably shouldn't be here, which means layoffs are coming. Merry Christmas. Now, to be clear, when I said out of touch at the beginning of the story, I meant that we just came out of a pandemic where we were forced to be locked in front of devices and out of touch with our friends. Look, even Sleepy Joe Biden has said the pandemic is over, and while really it's not.
It's not.
Well, Mark says we need to push the future now, and his technology is about people communicating. But don't we want to do that
In person
without a mask over our eyes? Especially on a platform that's violated our trust by allowing Russian troll factory posts to be amplified in its recent past. In further out-of-touch news, according to a tweet by Lufthansa, owners of the AirTags must turn off the devices before checking their bags. But this is because they don't want to be tattled on, maybe, for their lackluster baggage handling?
Really?
I think so. Hey, the company justified its decision on the grounds that the International Civil Aviation Organization guidelines objects that objects with a transmission function must be deactivated during flight, like put your cell phones in airplane mode.
Okay.
But they aren't saying anything about your Bluetooth AirPods, which use the same technology. Oh, and none of these devices, the AirPods or the AirTags, have a power switch, so good luck people turning them off.
I know, I was going to say, I don't even know how to turn it off. Who knows how to turn it off? I don't know.
Later, a Lufthansa spokesperson told Airways magazine that Lufty has not banned AirTags from its flights. However, the company notes that there is a standing ICAO regulation on such devices, but this has nothing to do with Lufthansa or any other carrier. It's unclear at this point what led the airline to publicly say that it would ban AirTags from its flight. Now, I think it's just like they don't want to be tattled on, right? Now, technically, these use low-power Bluetooth that has been approved by the flight safety organizations in the US and Europe since 2017. And the tiny lithium batteries that do not have the limitations that the old hoverboard batteries used.
So they're not going to burn, they're not going to catch on fire in the bottom of the plane. Okay. Several people across the country report that their iPhone 14s called 911 while they were riding roller coasters. Did you see this? That is according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. Now, the new iPhone 14 and Apple Watch 8 offer a crash detection feature that automatically calls 911 and sends a text message to people in your contact list if it detects that you've been in a car accident. Can you imagine, like, your mom's like, oh my gosh, where are you? Calling hospitals and whatnot. So the Warren County Communications Center said it got at least 6 automated 911 calls from people at Kings Island Amusement Park. That was in Cincinnati. Since this new iPhone was released, authorities have received similar calls from people riding the Joker roller coaster at Six Flags Great America near Chicago. So
I love thrill rides, so those seem like two good ones. If they're triggering their iPhone, they're going to trigger my endorphin rushes there.
Right, okay. Your endorphin in my heart. So.
Exactly. Hey, Georgia, PayPal is causing some controversy with the new policy it wasn't ready to go public with.
Like what?
Leaked documents say that it plans to impose financial penalties on customers who violate its policy regarding misinformation. Social media caught fire with the news that fines could range from $2,500 to $10,000 big ones.
Woo.
They would also be withdrawn directly from the customer's account.
Oh, good luck with that. I don't have to worry about you getting it from my account because you'll be like, negative.
Shares of PayPal stock went down 6% after news that PayPal is now calling misinformation. Now, that's a leak that our already down market did not need. And wasn't Elon's vision for PayPal to be the unbanked provider? Now they're fee crazy like real banks.
Yeah, hello, and try to get it like my real bank. Do that.
Hey, today's pro tip is pay yourself every month. Accumulating wealth is smart, but accumulating stocks that pay dividends to your monthly income is brilliant.
Yep.
I need to say that more British. Brilliant.
Okay.
One thing we suggest for long-term investments is number one, to choose stocks that pay relatively high dividends, and number two, select top targets that ultimately provide monthly dividend flow. This tactic is great for building wealth as you stay focused on the accumulation of the right stocks as you're expecting funds monthly. If you're watching on YouTube, here we have a Pepsi, Citgo Group, and UPS providing dividend returns monthly. These are just a few examples of stocks, but these give great returns.
All right, y'all, if you've got questions, if you've got comments, we want to hear from you. So do us a favor and email us at www.OptionsPlayers.com or leave your comment on the Options Players YouTube page. This first email comes from Linda G of OptionsPlayers.com website, who writes, with the recent jobs report, do you think there is a chance that Chairman Powell will put off raising rates? I see many economists and others sending their own opinions to Powell. Does he take any of those opinions into consideration or just what his team is focused on? Is there an off-ramp? Greg, can we just get on the shoulder? What do you say?
No, and multiple reasons. You look at jobs, and last time I think jobs was the unemployment was lower, and that's not what they're really wanting. Just because, because they're saying, hey, look, we're not in a recession because we have these good job numbers, but that is vice versa of what inflation is. I think the American people and half the politicians, they don't really understand what inflation is, okay? You're paying more for something either because they say the supply is low. Well, it doesn't really matter. Supply and demand go together on the same little demand curve. So if demand outweighs supply, things get more expensive. That's common sense. So the issue is they're raising rates and inflation is not being tamed by it. Now, you can say, oh, that's the wrong way to do it. And there might be other ways, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. Because raising rates is essentially supposed to stop cash flow or cash getting into people's hands so they spend it, so on and so on. So that's why it usually slows the economy, slows demand. But you have the Fed raising rates and then the government throwing Oprah and money out, so you have the anti-inflation bill, which basically threw money out. You have all the other stuff from back when Trump was giving out money and then Biden was giving out money. You just have too much free money. So if there is no struggle, if basically you have states out there that are like, oh, we're going to give you money because inflation's up. That creates inflation. But it also gets votes, right? So that's kind of what it's in. So no, the job numbers need to go up, the unemployment needs to go up for everything else to go down, or inflation to go down. And with gas oil prices and this latest OPEC news that came out, that inflation numbers we got, this month are going to show what oil and everything else was last month. So if inflation does likely go down a little bit in these numbers, it's likely going to go up worse the month after that. So it's kind of this, we're not going to really find out until after election when everybody stops trying to be political about it, what we can do. But yeah, historically, rates are not high whatsoever. So, prepare for a couple more rate hikes of 0.75 or 3 or 4 more 0.50s. Sorry.
Jeez.
Hey, thanks for everybody in live chat. Jordan King just said, how are we not going to blame the Fed for the money printing? And I think Greg just did that.
Yeah.
Everybody, all the last administrations, 2 of them, giving away money.
Yeah.
Hey,
you get money. You get money.
Yeah.
It's like we're on the Oprah show, right? You get a car. You get a car.
That's Oprah. The second question comes to us from Howie in the Options Players chat, who asks, with inflation continuing to heighten, I hear more about I-bonds that are risk-free and come with a guaranteed ROI of 10%. Is it too good to be true? Greg, he used I-bond, not lowercase I bond. So I guess this is not an Apple product?
Well, first off, it's a Roman numeral. I, so it's actually Series 1 bond, not a Series I bond. We just say that because it's Roman numeral. But regardless if you say Series 1 or I bond, it is what it is. You can get a paper I bond or you can get an electronic one through the Treasury Department. Treasury Department will automatically pay you. The paper one you got to, actually return in. Yes, they provide great for the rest of this month. They're providing about I'm going to say 9.6, but don't hold me to that percent interest. That is crazy. That's just free money. You can put up to $10,000 into that every year. Plus you could put up $5,000 of your tax returns into it. So somewhere around that $15,000 mark. That's just free money. So you could beat inflation on that. So yeah, everybody asks where should you put $10,000? I'll tell you, put in an I bond. You're going to get, basically $1,000.
Sweet.
Why
I
not?
love that.
Easy.
Yeah. I'm in.
All right. Well, if you have a question, hit us up on social media. We've got people in live chat right now, beep boop blopping right into the YouTube channel at OptionsPlayers.com. Or you can email us at www.OptionsPlayers.com for your questions, and we'll get to them on the next show.
Yes.
Hey, G, iOS 16.3 came out this week, and while it's not the 16.1 version that I'd like to see, it's finally safe for you to upgrade your iPhone and take advantage of the latest features.
Okay.
All right, so even those of you with the older version of the iPhone, like you're on the 12, I think we said last time. Now, if you're a long-time listener, you know that I don't do the first update on major releases for any platform. I wait for the secondary update, which normally comes a week or two later. Now, I do this to keep my laptop or phone from overheating and taking down the battery, which really happens more times than you'd expect with new software. And that's because of bugs that inevitably work their way into the big system series changes that are made in the major release versions.
Okay.
So it's especially true with laptop versions of software, which may not work after you upgrade with your favorite apps like video editing or music production. So heed this warning. As for the phone operating system, this week, the third update to the initial iOS 16 release came out, and now you can take advantage of the cool Siri keyboard and lock screen features. Most notably is Apple went back to a wide font style last seen before iOS 7 had a thinning of the interface. Now, if you're an Instagram girlfriend, iOS 16 has some features for the camera, letting you add foreground blur on portrait mode photos, and Apple's improved cinematic mode video capture, at least on those higher end devices. Okay. You'll get a cool depth of field video mode only on the iPhone 13 series and higher. So the iOS operating system has now multiple focuses, or what they consider time of day modes. Think of it as an individual lock screen for personal, work, and don't bug me, I'm busy, or sleeping time. Now each focus gets its own widgets like home automation controls when you're at your house, or photos of your different work and play parts of your day. Now, I'm a fan of the lock screen background, which matches the sky outside. And since I mostly sit inside banging away at a keyboard on Zoom calls during the week, I can pretend I'm getting that same sky view as if I were on my boat like I am on the weekends. See what I did there? For those of you who want to see your kids on the lock screen, probably you can choose from a shuffled selection of photos. Now, if the images were taken in portrait mode, a depth of field effect is enabled with the photo subject layered in front of the current time. It's a really cool visual trick.
Okay.
Now, I'm excited to see what Google does for their widgets, like Gmail, for instance, my favorite mail application for the iPhone, because they'll be able to add stuff to the lock screen as well. Now, I've got it showing my speaker and light stuff when I'm at home, since I'm a home automation guy. Hey, speaking of that, I was excited to see the Home app itself has gotten some attention with unique categories for lighting and speakers. The tiles have been redesigned, but I don't like that the devices are shown as glowing, even when they're turned off.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that either.
I hope another update to the software fixes that. I want to see the icon off if the lamp's off.
Yeah.
Hey, Apple's already awesome messaging app gets the ability to easily crop a subject out of a photo and paste it somewhere else. Have you seen this?
I love it. No, I haven't.
It's trippy and cool. To do this, just find a picture of like a human or a dog or an object.
Okay.
Hold your thumb on it, and a little magic band will go across the photo, and the iPhone will clip that photo away from the background. Then you can paste it into something like a note or an email.
That is so cool. That's really cool.
It works well, even with my fluffy hair. and my hair tone over here probably works good on you too.
Hair flip.
So, Georgia, right now with Messages, you can send documents and spreadsheets from Apple's suite of Office software, but support for Microsoft and Google Docs will probably open up soon as Apple has these new APIs open up for document sharing within Messages.
Okay.
And Do you ever wish you didn't send a message after you press send?
All the time.
Well, now you can unsend messages or even edit them on the iMessages app as long as you're quick enough.
Okay.
This feature disappears after 15 minutes.
Okay,
from
all
when
I
you
need is
sent the
15
message.
minutes to think about what I said. That's all. I'm like, oh, shoot.
Now, you also have the ability to change what you said up to 5 times.
Shut up.
Yeah, 5 times. Now, that might be a little much, but you can also unsend within the native mail application too, which the
Okay.
Gmail app has.
I like this update.
It's cool. I like it. And Apple Maps finally allows multiple stop routing like Google's. And it gives you fares for when you're taking public transport.
I saw that today.
It's cool.
I was like, oh, it tells me which way I'm going to pay for this tollway, how much I'm going to pay. I like that a lot.
Yep, tollway
That's cool.
and bus fares,
Love it.
subways, etc. My favorite stuff is the camera now has built-in translation. So when I go to Japan, I don't know if you know, I like to travel. I don't know if you know that. But you can hold it up to a sign. You can touch on once it recognizes text in a frame, you can touch the 3 dots or lines, like the hamburger menu, they call it, and then click translation. It'll translate right inside the app.
I love that.
In the camera app, you used to have a third-party app that would do that.
Oh, I love that.
So those of you who use the voice assistant Siri will be happy, especially when she messes up dictation, as the keyboard stays on screen so you can correct her bad habits.
Oh, that's great.
That's huge for me.
That's great.
I'm happy that emojis are now part of dictation as well. So you
What?
can insert those verbally. But you know what's weird? I keep saying chocolate ice cream emoji, and it doesn't understand me. It does. It writes the word chocolate and then shows the ice cream.
Oh, okay.
Is that emoji not ice cream?
I don't know.
Oh, it's the poop emoji.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, what? You have a problem.
You literally have to say poop emoji and it throws those up there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You're going to have so much fun with iMessaging
I'm
me later.
so going to have so much fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for our group chat.
Yes.
Hey, so there's a lot of safety features as well, like crash detection, which we talked about earlier, and emergency SOS messaging, which may or may not work depending on your particular phone, depending on the efficiency of these accelerometers as well. Now remember, Apple always wants you to buy new phones with better hardware inside, but I'm all about getting the most out of your old one.
Hello.
So it's cool that a lot of these things work on those old devices. So this update is loaded with stuff, even for my iPhone XS from 2018. And the new stuff like spatial audio lets me use a camera to map the shape of my ears. Like you hold it up and take pictures of your ears. So
Why
weird.
would you want to take a picture of your
Well,
ears?
so you can map 3-dimensional audio. I don't know. It's some weird. I think it's a goof, but whatever. It's fun. So your iMessage stuff updates, a lot of that will work on these older phones. So you are clear to upgrade. Now,
I
Godspeed,
love it.
and good luck deciding which apps, videos, or podcasts you should delete to free up space for this latest operating system from
I
Apple.
love this. You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait till you have like a buttload of kids like me and you can stop talking about all your little trips and your boat. And I went to LA for the Porsche show the weekend. Wait till you have kids. All that's over.
Next segment, please.
All right, so mergers and acquisitions can be either amazing or really bad. For instance, remember back in the day when AOL acquired Time Warner, back when we needed a dial-up to get on? Yes. So it was the second largest merger in history at the time at 180 billion. It may still be. That deal didn't even last 10 years. AOL went the way of the dinosaur and Time Warner went indie, as in an independent company.
I lost a lot of money on that merger.
Did you really?
Oh, tons.
Did you
tons.
really? Because everybody thought, who didn't?
We thought it was going to blow up.
Right? Okay, it was AOL. Who used anything but AOL? So on the other hand, AT&T bought Bell South for $86 billion in the early 2000s and never looked back. That deal really put AT&T on the map, like literally, because rural communities in the dirty could finally get AT&T coverage. There was Exxon and Mobil, Heinz and Kraft, and the list goes on and on. The point is, if we could turn back time.
We haven't done a song in a while.
I know, right? We could have gotten in on the stock prices before the merge and be doing this podcast from our yachts. Shut your mouth, I know. Our yachts instead of our boats, okay? So I give you this history lesson because there seems to be a lot of streaming mergers on the horizon, and honestly, I'm here for it. Because when I turn on my TV, I have like a billion streaming apps, and I don't even know what to do because I've got like a zillion. So here's the thing. There's speculation that Showtime may become part of Paramount. Warner Brothers and Discovery merged earlier this year, and now we hear HBO will be added to that mass media conglomerate. next year, and Disney and Hulu are reportedly going to merge in 2024. To be clear, Disney has been operating Hulu since 2019. However, Disney has to take over Comcast first before it can truly merge with Hulu. So there's that. Meanwhile, subscription prices just went up this week for Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus. It's not a gazillion dollars, but every year it's something, every 6 months. Hulu's cheapest option has gone from $6.99 to $7.99 per month. So back to my initial point of if we could turn back time. So where is the best place to put our money, Greg? Should I invest a little in all of the aforementioned streaming services, or does one stand out more to you? Get your crystal ball out, and whatever you say, I'm doing. And then whatever happens, if it's bad or good, your fault. If it's bad, especially.
Well, don't hold me on that. Some of these are different. So, for example, AT&T and DirecTV and all that, that's a high dividend stock. So you're really looking to capture your return on that equity through dividends versus things like Netflix, which has kind of stopped its growth, is kind of even at that 2.5%-ish. And then you have Disney, which the stock is way down. I don't know if you mentioned that, and then you have companies like Paramount, like you said. Which ones? I would say, which one do you use the most? And then which ones do your friends use the most? And then just invest in which one you won't. I don't think there's a right answer here. For me, I think Apple has a long way to go, with their streaming services, but they're just not very good.
Yeah.
Amazon, it's Amazon. Their streaming services are going to probably outpace everybody else just because everybody has Amazon Prime, and then it's easy to just purchase there. Hulu, the same way, like you said, it's cheapest. But
Netflix
Hulu's a lot of packages, so not very good margin.
Netflix is getting rid of password sharing, so they're going to force you. And they're doing this in some markets yet, but how many people share a Netflix login with their friends?
I mean,
not you.
No. My whole family. Yeah. There are 5 of us, right? So no, I think you can have 6. So I have my family, my mom, and one of my sisters. We all share. Right. It may be Disney. It may be Disney where we do that. But also with Netflix, I have a son that doesn't live with me, but he uses my Netflix. What am I going to do? Make him pay for his own cable? No. He's just a grown up.
But it is what it is. Like I said, just find the one that you like. I like Disney because it's a little bit lower. The stock's kind of beaten up, like way below pre-pandemic in streaming. And I have my own theories that streaming is costing them money because they're not getting the commercial money from their number one revenue stream, which was Disney, the actual show. So with that being said, I would say, depending on what you're looking at, AT&T, high dividends, and then Hulu, Disney, Paramount. Like I said, I like Paramount. If you're like a Star Trek fan or something like that, Paramount's got some really good stuff in there. Surprisingly, probably a lot of growth there.
But here's the thing:
down,
you're doing it right, I think. All everybody talks about is what's on Netflix. Like honestly, Netflix. I mean, you say it's flat,
too.
But all we ever talk about is, oh my gosh,
so many shows. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, how do they get them all?
No matter what you like, Netflix has got it, and what language you speak, they got it.
So I think, Greg, what I heard you say is take the Warren Buffett model, invest in those services you use. I know personally for me, TiVo was like the gadget that I used from like 1999 until 2020. But TiVo had a rough go. Yeah, TiVo, the DVR, right? And TiVo had a rough go at it with their IP when everybody ripped off their patents. And it took me forever to rebound from that. Greg, we just got a question in a chat on YouTube. The thoughts on ZIM and their insane dividend. This goes back to the prior guest questions on stocks with dividends. Do you follow ZIM?
You're going to have to make me look this up.
Yeah, that's from Jordan King.
Oh, yeah, Jordan.
Jordan King wants to know. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking at it, like I said,
what is ZIM?
It's a cargo company coming out of Israel, going on. I mean, that is something. It looks like it's been doing pretty good today, at least. Other than that, it is way down dramatically. And there's nothing I can really say why that's going to.
I think logistics I would stay clear of, especially
I know,
with
right?
fuel
Hello,
costs,
with what's going on in the world.
Oh, man. All right. Thanks, Jordan, for that live question. And thank you, Greg, for being there on the spot with us. Now, if you have a question for Greg or want to hit us up, email us at www@optionsplayers.com. You can find us on social media at What's Next Wall Street, or you can comment on our YouTube page.
Yes, we read those. As you can see, we read those like instantly. You can, of course, watch episodes of What's Next Wall Street on our YouTube page or listen on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you subscribe, hit the alert button so that you get current trending info as soon as it drops. And also make sure you rate the show.
I'm Dave Mathews.
And I'm Georgia Alfredas. See you next time on What's Next Wall Street.
Thanks for tuning in.
I tried to do it again.